women feel like they need to be rescued because in their own homes, they were muted. Their emotions mainly. They weren't muted, they were put to work.
Welcome to Vulnerability Muscle, the empowering podcast challenging norms and guiding you to find strength and power through vulnerability. I'm your host, Reggie D. Ford. In a world that often portrays vulnerability as a sign of weakness, I believe it is a source of tremendous strength and authenticity. Through insightful conversations and thought provoking interviews, Vulnerability Muscle aims to redefine vulnerability and help listeners develop a new perspective on their own lives. Each episode of Vulnerability Muscle delves into a variety of topics such as mental health, social issues, and mindset shifts. We explore the power of vulnerability in healing, building resilience, and promoting personal growth, as well as fostering meaningful connections. This podcast provides practical tools and strategies to navigate life's challenges, overcome adversity, and create more inclusive and just environments for all people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have Marilyn Moore here. Marilyn Moore is a Bronx native living in Brooklyn with 4 children. Marilyn's goal is to bring light to saving our planet, supporting Black maternal health, ending food apartheid, and the systems behind disenfranchised communities. She is here to thrive out loud. I love that. She's a mother, a chef, an entrepreneur, herbalist, public speaker, birth advisor, and public health advocate. Marilyn is the CEO of Divine Appetite LLC, which creates food education curriculums and manages the Marilyn the Chef brand. Divine Appetite also offers an innovative food educator certificate course to the leaders and clients of community based organizations. Welcome, 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 Marilyn. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Excited.
I'm it's an honor. It's an honor to have you. So, before we get started, I like to open up with a couple of I think they're easy rapid response questions just to get you talking. So, first is what is one thing you do to relax when you're feeling stressed?
Whew. Headstands.
Headstands. Interesting. Tell us about that.
Inversion. Sometimes I do half, but I just get on the floor, rest, and kind of put pressure on the top of my skull where I put like up here in this pituitary gland. The hypothalamus gland is more back here in the back of your head. And like I wrote in this and I write in the curriculums. I wrote in my book, but I write in curriculum stories about the relationship of the pituitary gland. And then when I learned how to do headstands from a local workout man in the park, which I love, like he's all muscular and like, yeah. And he was like, oh, I know how to do headstands. And you just remove the stereotype. I was like, I heard that headstands would really help me and calm my nervous system. And he's like, I could tell you how to do it. Just got down and and flipped his body upside down. And I was just like, wow. And
Wow.
when he got up, his whole disposition shifted.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, I want that. I want that."
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
about a year of practice and falling and bruises, now it's my go-to. And
Wow.
if I'm in a place, I go into a squat position, but I know it's just our body, the blood needs to flow.
Mhm.
That's the key.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. I'm gonna do some handstands today, so or headstands today. So
Yeah.
you got that. What comes to mind when you hear the word vulnerability?
I'm about to get choked now. I'm about to get knocked out. Um as a 45-year-old woman from a very rough and tough city, like the energy of it, even when you're like in corporate, no matter which area, you kind of like, let's do it. We can do anything. It's nerve wracking because you're admitting that you cannot. I have to say no to people who absolutely want me to say yes to everything. I have to say, you're hurting me. Like things that I did not know how to do because it was labeled as weakness and not tough enough. So that is what vulnerability just kept in my head. But I was feeling something in my gut that that's really who I was. I
Mm,
was a vulnerable being, and I deserve that, just like I deserve healthy food. Like it's my
mhm,
divine birthright.
mm.
But I'm being told by everyone that it's not, and I don't like that. That's when the other part of my personality comes up with like, you said I can't have that. Like I can't have like
Yeah,
healthy emotions. Nah.
yeah. I think I hear where the rebel part comes in now. I like this. Oh, I like where this is gonna go. Okay. Which or what is one of your favorite childhood memories?
Mm. Hmm. Okay. I would have to say when my dad, my bonus father that I speak about, he's my dad, also used to get up on Saturdays, Sundays, excuse me, his only day off. And he would say, let's go to the mall because I used to watch Saved by the Bell and Growing Pains and these white shows on television that were in the suburbs. And I wanted to know what a mall was because we didn't have malls. And it's so we had like shopping areas. We didn't have malls to hang out, but in Yonkers, so he would drive up and we would go to the mall. And I'm telling you, that sounds so simple, but I felt like I had access to something that other people didn't, which they didn't. The people in my neighborhood didn't even go to Manhattan. They didn't even ride the train to the city, let
Mm,
alone their parents could drive them to a mall. And it's the simple pleasures of at that young age, I felt like my dad, and he would drive around Scarsdale, New York, and he was like, "This is totally what you can have if this is what you want.
wow.
There's more than the Bronx." And I don't want to get sensitive, but that's what he
This is
did.
vulnerability muscle. You can.
So, I mean, it just that ignited the vulnerable in me. That ignited that part of me, like I can have anything I want. And then it was like, well, wait, why I don't have access to this? You know?
Yes, yes. So you called him your bonus father. Tell me what that means.
He decided to marry my mom, and my mom met him when I was 4 years old, and within that probably 3 or 4, I remember him from just that small age. Their story is so amazing that my actual father, who I was very close to, came to visit. My bonus dad welcomed him with Coronas, and they would sit in the living room. I don't know what kind of man things they were having, but I didn't see it. I saw a community. My mother would come out with her non-community self, like starting drama, and then I saw her with her drama, and them two would just look at her like, and I love
Yeah.
that. It just showed me a different aspect of men. That's why I think I'm the way I am now because I saw men in a different way. I didn't see men
Wow.
like, oh, you got divorced, I hate the new guy. Like I know that's a narrative that's real. I'm not saying that's not real, but I didn't see it. You know,
Wow.
so I think he's my bonus. So I feel like he's never introduced me as this is my wife's daughter, my stepdaughter. Never. This is my daughter. He
Mm.
adopted me in his heart, not
Mhm.
paperwork, not American paperwork adoption, but talking about love, a love
Yes.
language that I think a lot of us are missing nowadays. But
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a love language in in that era. So he knew when he came into my mother's household that she came with a package, and
Mhm.
that is something when I work with women who are adults who did not have that, it impacts us. And men and women who I work with having that extra man that they were like as a kid, you're like, yes, someone's here. Oh, they're not here. Okay.
Yeah,
What does
yeah.
and then having to deal with how that makes us feel. So
Wow. Definitely. I can relate on that. Just not having my biological father in my life for most of my upbringing, but then my mom had a significant partner for many years, and then they broke up, and it was hard because I was starting to see this person as m my bonus father. That's cool. I love that. I love that. Like, it gives so much respect to that relationship.
mhm.
So no, that's beautiful. I love it. I'm curious the work that you do with women and empowering women. What does that work look like for you?
It looks like getting to the root. It looks like hard work. That's what I
Mhm.
want to call it. And I say that um because you're entering a space that has not been touched. So it's just like you have a beautiful dog there, and when
Rosie, yeah.
yeah, when you first, even if the dog is a puppy or an older dog, there are certain parts that they may not have received from their last owner if they're an older dog or a rescue dog or something like. And I feel like women feel like they need to be rescued because in their own homes they were muted. Their emotions mainly. They weren't muted, they were put to work. Anyone who's about, especially anyone who's like 35, they will put in a different kind of work. They will put in a work like this that skipped heartbeats, a very digital work, a very digital detached. So as I'm coming to say, let's loosen up, they're like,
Yeah, it's hard.
I call them the reincarnated baby boomers. It's just the difference is baby boomers weren't passive aggressive. They were a little rougher, but baby boomers showed up. That's the difference. Baby boomers had their ways and they were tough on us, but they watched each other's kids. That, when people look back,
Mhm.
like, how could those mean people make it? Because they had family. They weren't
Mhm.
individuals setting
Yeah.
boundaries and calling that vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's not vulnerability. That's you hiding. And that's
Yeah.
what I bring, and everyone don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. You're hiding from your responsibilities, and I'm letting them know you are responsible for your sister's children, and I need you to really let the internet get that out your head. You are. I tell my brother helped me when I got sick. My kids had to bounce with him. Their father's calling me like, when is he coming to get them? That's nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? But that's my
Mm.
brother. My
Yeah.
brother. You know what I'm saying? That people
Yeah.
stigmatize, who has his own children, his own wife. He don't That's not like I got my own thing. No, he don't. Hi, this person canceled. It's your job. It's not like it's like when how can I fit it in? So it's not me being arrogant. It's none of that energy because it's so normal. It's like, oh, he's like, how do I fit into, oh, this person canceled? All my peoples was like, how do we fit in? I can
Mhm.
do this day. I can do that. No one's saying like, if they are, they ain't telling me. And that's what I
Right.
make clear to women, like cohesive vulnerability, communal love. Like y'all bossing it and lonely. Why be
Yeah.
lonely?
Phew. That's real. That's
The
real.
money's not leaving with you.
We've been sold that rugged individualism is a thing to be proud of, and honestly, like you said, you get to the top of the work that you do, and you look around and you're by yourself, and that is not a successful place to be. That is
Mm,
not a healthy place to be. I like that you embody the spirit of it takes a village. It takes a village to be successful, to be happy, to be healthy. It takes community to do that. And not just as a child, not just towards children, but to people all throughout their lives. So, yes, what is the range of ages that you see mostly with the women that you work with?
well, um, I feel like I've had can I just be honest? If we talk about statistics,
Please.
let's talk about,
Please.
let's use my surveys if I was studying my surveys, which I do, and get my feedback. So middle school, I feel like are my rock stars. Middle
Okay.
school young ladies are coming into a space and they are the most vulnerable. So I feel like that is why there's so much data targeted to that age group, because they are at a vulnerable place to position their next move. We don't see them sometimes, but they're about to make their next move, whether that is joining a gang or going into an AP class or taking soccer. They're making that big decision whether the parents see it or not. And when you meet them there and allow them access to it, I just the these are children who've had a device in their lap their whole life. They are yearning for touch. And in that exact age, most of the institutions have removed touch by that age because they have
Yeah.
sexualized our learning experience. Our entire education is about the first intake that I had to do with students is about who they want to have sex with. And that is just so up like, and when I and I say it that way because I'm raw in the Vulne-Rebel. But if I have to ask the child what their choices are and who, not just who they identify as, but like who they want to date, I'm teaching nutrition. I mean, I'm not telling you who I'm dating, and it doesn't mean I'm biased on anything. It just means this is not your business. Right here, I want you to just be educated. And we have so much, everything is so sexualized about what I'm doing with my reproductive organs. But that food, I said this to this student. She's like, it feels so uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about who I like or who I don't like. And I said, when they ask you that, say, my endocrine system is not there. The food you gave me this morning has impacted my endocrine system in a very negative way. So I know you think me sitting here telling you what agenda I've chosen and what if I don't know? and that's causing me stress. I am only
Mm,
11 and I don't know who the heck I am. But a
yeah,
fifth grader, a fourth grader is going to just, that's what you want? That's what you think I
that's
should
what
be
I'm gonna
doing?
do.
Let me answer the questions. And they
Yeah,
do it. And then they get to this age like, wait, I don't know. I had students
yeah.
come in telling me about that. So I know I went a little longer now because I just feel like if you are in marketing, if we are capitalistic in a little way. We are creating innovations that change the future. Guess where they starting? The time of your life when the future is being built in you and
Mm,
how you respond to things. You could
mm,
snatch a whole person's emotions at 11 and they might not
mhm.
get it back to 35. And then that's the next age group. My next age group comes in at 24. And when I,
Okay.
as a 45-year-old, and I see the access what you've had access to. You can get on a call with someone in Ghana and chill for free. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And learn. When I see you have access and your choice of access is just money, that's the only thing you want access to. And then when you get the money, it is not to actually bring change long term. It confuses me. But then I realize that middle school years is where I always recommend therapy. And I have like four different agencies I use in New York that I share because that age group is hurting in silence.
Mm,
And it was hard for me to teach 20, let's say about once I get to about 29, 5 years ago, 29 to 35 was just like a 3 week session of lies. And then by
wow.
the third week, they're like, so I think I need to work on this. And when
And
I
then it
first
came
started in
out.
2014, I was teaching vulnerability and was not. I was a gangster. Like, oh no, forget them. They don't want nothing further. I'm sorry. I was like feeling so that's so horrible. But I felt like that. I was reading a survey. No, no, don't say that about me. Oh, you can't do this. You don't want it. They were like, how are we supposed to do this? I can't be
Yeah.
vulnerable. The little girls were like, if I cry at home, I get smacked. If I could be
Mhm.
a young man, if I high school boys, I taught like Independence Inn is a shelter in Brooklyn. Anyone who wants to donate who listens to this, it is one of the very few teen male shelters, which is so
What's it
bonkers.
called again?
Independence Inn.
Okay.
Independence Inn, yes. And so those are places, are great places to donate. And working with hearing someone in the same age group of a different gender viewing life. I see the 29s. I'm on a journey, so I'm gonna be alone. Okay, I listen. Before I was like, that's not it. Now I'm just listening.
Right.
So you're asking, telling me to integrate. I want journeys are done alone. Okay. And then hear the young man tell me, you know what's so weird? Like I want to. I feel like we destroy people's lives. And I said, why are you saying that? He said because every time you date a girl, she's like, well, I'm on a journey, and if you're here, you're a distraction. And so she's like
Mm.
when I come in a room or I come into the life of a girl, he was tearing. I bring her
Wow.
down. My presence is gonna hurt her instead of what if I could support you? What if we could study together? And he was just like, I know I am broke. He was I know I'm in a shelter, but I'm
Mm.
smart. It ain't my fault I'm in a shelter. And I
So
just
he's
and
internalizing that negativity because he can't add benefit to anybody, to a woman's life, to a girl's life because of what. Oh man, that's deep.
I
That
wrote
is really
this.
deep.
I'm telling you, when I heard this, I was just looking. So I shared this information. This is what I do. I say, hey,
How did you get to the place where you are in terms of your vulnerability from the gangster side that you were? And you can still be gangster and vulnerable at the same time, but tell me a little bit about your evolution and your journey.
I started to feel more. The numbing stopped. I was very numb. I wasn't seen as numb. I've always been seen as, this emotional being. You mad emotional, you mad emotional. And from mean people, like as if anger is not an emotion. So I used to just be
Right.
so caught at like what emotional or if it's like some I used to be like, is this like a Negro spiritual that was passed on to save us like from pain? I'm being serious too, because I don't hear any other cultures like using that word as a gun, like as a
Mhm.
weapon to weaponize or my emotions and make them negative and make me afraid of that. And so when I started to say I'm not numb and I'm feeling everything and I'm crying and I started the bullying, I still get bullied on social media. I have what 7,000 followers. I'm not viral. I'm not doing nothing harmful to anyone. I'm just being honest, crying, saying I love men. I'm so grateful I have them. I getting attacked. Like so
Yeah.
I said, oh no.
Mm,
No, I'm not gonna stop. This must be what you need because I understand mammals. Our
mm, mm,
mammalian nature that has been corrupt by the digital world. They don't coincide well, and we get mad when you take us
mhm.
out of our programming. We are robots, and if you take me out of my robot, it's working well. I'm doing good. I'm making money. I don't need no man. Stop saying that. I'm a single mother, and this feels great every day, not having no one. Okay, I got you, boo, but I'm not saying that because it's not true.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes,
And I had
the
to, I
human
said,
part of it, the animal man, like you said, we're mammals, we're animals, we have things that are similar to a monkey, similar to an elephant that is communal, that is love, that is and we have emotion. We have high level thinking, but we have emotion.
mm,
And to take any part of that away from you is to take your humanity away. And I'm glad that you embrace your humanity and give that humanity to other people. That's so beautiful.
thank you.
What is the what is where did the feelings started start to come from when you went from numb to feeling or at least acknowledging the feelings? Where did that shift happen?
It happened from motherhood. Motherhood did that for me, and it was my motherhood is one of my first miracles besides having childhood epilepsy and it being cured. Like I've never had a seizure again since 2007. I have to throw that out there about my two miracles. So that was one, and I know part of that medication was making me infertile. I was infertile in my 20s. I got divorced because I couldn't get pregnant. Like I had to deal with all that, but I was dealing with it strong. I was strong. None of that hurt me, and it did. And so when that next, then I'm like, okay, I'm not religious, but God, there has to, there's a spirit, like there's something higher here. This was not science. And then I started thinking about all the things I started feeling. I started yelling it out, like, get this out of me. And I am not on meds, something that I thought I would be doing for the rest of my life. I had to say no. No, 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 no. I'm doing this. I'm going to deal with the consequences. And it is. I tell my women there are consequences. That's why I didn't tell you to do it alone
Mhm.
because it hurts to be mocked and then 85% of the room is in agreement with you that
Mm.
you crazy. It's not easy to be 10%. Although I'm from New York. I'm from a place with 8 million people. I'm always 1%. I don't care about being 1% out of 8 million people. Is a lot of people. I tell my
Right.
daughters that whenever you feel like you're shrinking, remember we live somewhere where 8 million people exist. So if we only the 1%, that's still a big number.
Yeah.
And that's how I had to view it because I was shrinking. I was fighting this up and down roller coaster of emotions because I am trying to, oh, this room is for this personality. Oh, this room is for this I'm not doing that.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Mhm.
Did I
Yeah.
answer that? I do good on that.
That's good. Like, I think that's where my vulnerability started to come out. My book was the first real expression of vulnerability, perseverance through severe dysfunction. And it was a way of me putting all those different parts of me, the aspects of me that would show up in a boardroom, that would show up in the hood, that would show up over here. Like, fuck all that. I am all of those things, and they're all in this book, and you can get a piece of that. And so, since that moment, it's been sharing all the different parts of my humanity so
Mhm.
that the little kid from the hood growing up thinking that they have to change everything about them, that all the things that are bad that they currently possess. No, like bring that with you. We need that uniqueness. We need your thoughts. We need your background. We need all of that part to be the best that we can be, to innovate, like you said, to be the best capitalistic society, to be the most progressive, whatever it is. Like we need all those different parts. And so I'm glad to hear that that came out. And so I want you to tell the world about your book. So,
Hmm.
say it out loud because I say it vulnerable, but it's vulnerable,
Yes, yes. The
vulnerable,
vulnerable, yes.
vulnerable. Tell me about vulnerable.
The vulnerable is me. Like there's a video on the vulnerable is here. Like if that could be my intro on a stage every time, I would love it because I am the epitome of the vulnerable. So I wrote a book with real testimonies and a real life a person who has been judged, who started therapy at 14 years old in the 90s where it was better. My grandmother she's no longer here, but she told my friend that I went to juvie, that I went to Spofford. She told, I just want to cry because I'm not because she hurt me, but because that's how stigmatized getting help for our mind, body, and spirit is. And my grandmother, and I was a straight A student. I passed while I was in a psych ward. I was doing my homework. I was one of the few
Wow.
kids finishing my and asking, can I get tests? There was no Zoom. There was not none of that freedom. I'm talking about 93, 1993, 1994. Hip hop is booming. Onyx is out. Time to get live. I wasn't getting live. I was crying. I was depressed. I was listening to Nirvana talking about, I feel you. I want to just die with you. Why am I leaning into death? And I'm keeping it
Mm,
real. That's why
mm.
I have overdosed 8 times. Not
Oh,
because I
I'm
was an
so
addict,
sorry.
because I tried to take my life. And the last time was right after I had a baby. And I was well. I was teaching the marriage of mind and body workshop. People were getting healed. But I was still living part-time vulnerable. I was
Mm,
part-time vulnerable, part-time strong black woman, and it was eating up my body. Still eating well, free of epilepsy, PTSD meds gone, off of meds, telling the world, hating what I was feeling inside, hating that I could not express myself without crying, hating that somebody's always telling me, lower your voice. And it just bothers me because I did a video once and I said, I'm outside. I said, oh, none of y'all can hear me? That's why New Yorkers are loud. It's not because we're ratchet and dusty. We live in a place with there's not a time. Did you see all these houses in Atlanta? There's high rises. When I was out to go park the car, there was no one outside at
mhm,
night. I'm loud. I'm bold. I'm courageous. But when they feel like I can be, it's
mhm,
like having pieces of my human body, like deciding for me if I should have a baby, or people coming up to me saying, this is the Vulne-Rebel. You you gonna have more kids and they all girls, not not realizing that my children are not deaf. Okay, that there are human beings standing here and they are free children. They're not your children who just gotta endure. My kids are not resilient, enduring hardships for long periods of time with a smile. No, so I was just feeling like that everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. What's that military song? Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are. So we tell them, this is the Vulne-Rebel, the mother effing
Love
Vulne-Rebel.
it.
Do you like it? Do you not? I don't care. And that
Yes.
took so much courage. And every time I look at my little small black humans with uteruses in their bodies,
Mm,
I said, you will not hide who you are for some dusty person who does not even want to give you equity. When we're in a
yes.
country where we still have an $80,000 wage gap.
Mm,
Easy.
mm,
University 2016, one of their statistics. It's the facts. You want me to fight and show up and it will not give me equity. You want me to change my hair. You untwisting little girls' locks while they play basketball and y'all want me to respect you and show up strong. Yeah, they don't got no respect for me. This is
mm,
me. I'm not talking about everyone. I only could talk about myself and the little children I birthed on this earth to make sure they good. You weren't making sure your kid get to Harvard. I'm making sure my kid builds their own wealth. That my goal every day is to teach my daughters. She's like, I need you to check in and check. I'm not checking in. We not on a time schedule. We homeschool. I'm not checking in with you. I'm going to lay out what you need to do, and I'm going to teach you a skill that no institution will ever teach you, which is be a self-starter. And I'm
mm,
going to teach it to you while you're young so that you can
mm,
take pride in getting up and doing what you want to do. I can't
mm,
give you everything. I'm a
mm.
I'm a mere human, but I can give you skills that no matter what academics, no matter what career choice, that's the Vulne-Rebel. And that's what I want other people to do. Wake up and be well so I could walk into these offices and not deal with some grumpy people who are
Yes.
miserable. And the
Yes.
Vulne-Rebel is telling you wellness is not eat well, exercise, and put a smile on your face. Wellness is saying, I don't want to exercise today. And I'm not. And I'm not going to die. My book is anti-fear. Fear-based solutions impact your nervous system and endocrine system at a detrimental level. You talking about health
Wow.
disparities? Why don't you ask your body how you feel when you click on a vegan video and they go, "Oh, your colon about to die." I know y'all don't know this yet because y'all behind. But I'm
And
gonna
that
give
stress is what's gonna kill you.
you that.
Interesting.
What's happening in that first 10 seconds of what you watching that
Mm,
video? What is your nervous
Terrified.
system doing? Fight or flight,
Mhm.
cortisol. I
Yeah.
break all of that down in the book. I'm talking
Wow.
about science in this book, the
Mhm.
science of vulnerability. And I put
Mhm.
recipes, but I didn't put, I'm a chef, but I didn't put just food. I put my homemade laundry detergent. You
Wow.
want to be healthy, watch what's going in your pores. It's the largest organ on your body is your skin that we take advantage of. And we put all
Mhm.
these perfumes and dyes and colors and this and chemicals. Who can
Mhm.
afford an organic chemical free shirt? You can't.
Right.
Why you not? But that's why I go to thrift shops in East 88th Street and First Avenue where they donate sustainable clothes. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? Like you got to do what you have to do without shame and still look beautiful and show up as yourself. But knowing that what I'm navigating is navigating my long term health. I'm not navigating
Mhm.
how to survive on this earth. I'm navigating my long term health so I can thrive out loud. I can show what thriving looks like.
Yes, I
And not
love
just
that.
talk
I
about it.
love that so much. Tell me
That's the
about the
vulnerable. Buy the
yeah,
book.
buy the book, y'all. If y'all can't tell, like, there's so much knowledge. Where does that knowledge come from?
Life experience. So I say the blessing that I thought cursed me, which was being institutionalized by a nurse at Union Hospital that is closed down right now at 15 years old. And she was evaluating my father, my bonus dad thought I was pregnant. I was throwing up. I was bulimic. I wasn't bulimic. I didn't want to be skinny because I wasn't in, but I saw the girl on Tracy Gold or something. She had bulimia. She gave an excerpt on like they stopped and paused the show on growing pains and did an episode. But she was with the dark place I was in, like a Scorpio. This is what I did. She was giving a testimony of not being bulimic. But what all I remember her saying, when I throw up, I feel like I'm releasing all the trauma. Like all she wasn't using the
Mm,
words trauma back then, but I'm releasing. So I started throwing up, making myself throw up. And only someone with an actual degree, okay, that's why we need to go to people who specialize in this,
yes.
could help me and navigate that. That's what I was doing. My parents couldn't. Oh, you want attention? And the nurse said, and my mom got there late. Different kind of personality than my bonus dad. And so she just wants attention. And the nurse was like, well, now you finalize that I have to hospitalize her because if your kid has to harm themselves to get attention, then there is something missing in your house. And I
Yes.
had never heard it said like that. In my
Yeah,
family, you get attention was an insult.
right.
She
It
was
was
like,
something that you did wrong, not, "Hey, look, give me the attention then.
I
I'm a
need
kid.
attention.
I'm a kid."
You're not noticing me. And that it
Yeah,
wasn't negative.
yeah.
So that was where I realized I can like have happiness. I can like I was a kid in an environment that in no way empowered me to love myself. It empowered me to work hard and show off and blow up and swing my head and get an attitude.
Mm,
I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna pause there.
I felt that. I felt that a lot because in my healing journey, the biggest thing that I have learned is that I have carried so much self-loathing throughout my entire life. And my
Mm,
self-loathing has been applauded by society because my responses to my trauma were work hard, were to go
mhm.
nonstop, were to push myself beyond limits that ultimately led me to the worst mental health in my life.
Whew.
And it there's so many people who suffer in that way and suffer in silence because the world keeps patting them on the back and they keep getting that next achievement, but it's all screaming out for love. And
Ooh.
the love starts with self. We
Mm,
need to be taught how to love ourselves. And I love that you are raising 4 beautiful girls and you're teaching them that. What do they mean to you? What do your girls mean to you?
hmm. Whew. Um, they're definitely not what I live for because, like I said, I have definitely laid next to my baby and took a bottle of pills because therapy always taught me from a young age you have to love yourself. You cannot live for no one else. So I never adopted that as a mother, and I became a mother and a different kind of mother that people were looking at like what because I had to put myself first. So what they mean to me is an opportunity to impact humans. Like I was graced with a chance not to boss, control, rule over, but to be a guide. Like God trusted me, the person that my dad's who recently passed away suddenly, Carlos Silva. I just give you a shout out to my father, great father. Yes. So my daughters, I'm not going to get into my dad. My daughters are my opportunity to see a human, a black human with a uterus, be free. God gave me this opportunity that my dad said on his 60th birthday when you didn't know because you were a child, but my aunt, my family, my wife, my brothers, your kid is gonna be dead by the time she's 40. Your kid is not gonna make it. Your daughter is not gonna make it. We know she got a good job. I always had my own apartment. I excelled at everything I did, but all they could see was my expression of my emotions. Y'all cannot do that to me. I will run away. I will run away. And I was a runaway. I will run away. You will not hurt me. Therapy taught me I had rights. As a teenager, you have rights in a time where we still didn't have no rights. Kids did not have no rights. And I saw this man crying at his dinner and my siblings are all looking and he's like, "You turn 40 next month. You hear me? You have a small business. You chose to use your skills to help people." And he started and my dad started crying. You know my dad is not no crying man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's him. And so I was crying, he was crying, and I want that. And that day I knew I was a mother. I was already 40. That means I was already my daughter was probably like 8. I was already like a mother for 8 years. And that was the first time I knew what being a mom, a parent was.
Mm.
Because that right there, I never knew my dad was hurting. Because they never shared that it hurt them. My mom would be like, "Well, you know, when people die, they they get over them in about a few months. So keep trying to hurt yourself." And I
Wow.
love my mom. My mom also
Wow.
taught me and when I got divorced, my mom's the only person that had my kids. You better bring them kids in because it was about work. I couldn't say, "Mom, watch my kids so I can go on a date." No, I got 3 contracts. Bring them kids in my house. Don't you dare not work
Yes.
because you got a divorce. Like that was energy that I don't want to project to my children. I
Mm.
want you to work hard because you found something you love and you want to really like get to the root and break down the biology of it, the ecosystem. You want to change the ecosystem of a workspace or whatever it is once you do. That's when you put effort. I want to give them that freedom. And every time I see them and I tell my daughter's like, you're in a bad mood and it's hurting me. Maybe you should stay in your room. I could never say nothing like that. And then I would look at her. At first, I'm like, I don't know what to I don't always know the answer. I was beat up. I'm learning with a 12-year
Right.
old. My oldest is only 12. I'm 45, but I only have a 12-year old. This is a new job for me. So in those moments when I don't know what to say and my emotions want to be like, I know you better get the hell out of my face. I say nothing
Yeah.
because I don't have the words. I say nothing. And I just nod my head and close my door and I pause. Because I do be wild. I'm like, I'm sick of this. You're not cleaning. I'm screaming. And that's me being vulnerable. But my daughter also has a right that's too much for me.
Yeah.
It's too much. I don't know how
Yeah.
we're going to work this out, but it's too much for me.
Mhm.
What I'm going to
Yeah.
say. I'm loud. I want to say I probably do sometimes, but I love that they can come back. Or one time I'm
Yes.
in the elevator and I'm stressed. Dad cancel. I'm going back up the stairs. Like, how can he cancel? I'm acting like they're not there, like they're not feeling my stress. I'm just all they look like is this. They don't know what's going on. And then in Grace, my Taurus child, this how you gonna act every time daddy makes you mad? We gonna have to deal with this. In the elevator yelling at me.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wow.
I'm gonna go back to
It's a
therapy.
reality check,
I
huh?
went back to therapy. I go to
Yeah.
therapy every week. I went back to therapy because I could not at the same time, like I tell mothers, yeah, my daughter's bold, but I could not give her the mom she needed. I could not at that moment. Knowing that somebody, I had all the emotions, all the judges. Like, how dare you get to have freedom and I can't? Like, how dare society take it easy on y'all? My dad never had it easy. His mom said, "You better go get your kid." Like that, he
Mm.
didn't have it easy. He's proud of that. I don't care
Mhm.
how crazy your ex is. Go get your kid. Like everyone, but I had to say, Everyone don't have that. And I'm tired. I was tired. Like I'm tired of being emotionally intelligent for everyone else and nobody is for me. Now my kids is mad at me too.
Mhm.
I what do you do? You pause. You pause and reflect. And that is so often in the book I have at in paragraphs. Please don't read no more. Pause and
Yes.
reflect. And those
Yes.
are real life moments. I had to go in the house and I was mad that I had to be a grown behind woman and not throw a tantrum in front of my children. And these tantrums are
Mhm.
beautiful, but
Yeah.
sometimes kids don't need to see them. And it's okay. You know what I mean? They don't need to see that. But I'm not telling you not to have one. That's
Right.
the
Right.
difference between this generation and the last.
Yeah.
Have your tantrum because sometimes I was jogging one day. I'm in Prospect Park. I'm talking about I threw up and it was just like when kids are sick and it just shoots out their mouth and you're like, wait a minute, where'd that come from? It happened to me. And the lady, I'm jogging and I'm like, I gotta get out of the city. Everyone's looking like scared of me instead of no one asked me if I was okay. No one.
Right.
I get off
Mm.
at the grass. This lady's like, oh, with her dog. And then she sees me and she's like, looking at me crazy. You acting, you're trying to give an illusion that you're a comforting, loving person. But a human, I was I mean
Yeah.
hysterical.
Like,
Where
help
it was,
me.
and so I sat in my squat position in that natural mammalian form, our first heritage of how we used to sit. I sat in that form and contacted my inner child. I said, inner child, that bold Elena, that's who I say, that's the name of the girl in the book, Elena. My name is Marilyn Elena. And my father's sister name is Marilyn. He has one sister. So he named me after her. Her name is Marilyn Elena. So my mom decided that I needed my own identity. And so she called me Elena. So no one in my family calls me Marilyn. So when they read the book, they'll definitely see Elena. And Elena and Marilyn are kind of different. Elena was the girl
Yeah.
was fighting everyone. So I figured
Mhm.
I'm gonna change the Marilyn to be palatable for the world. And now I'm like, no, Marilyn is necessary because Marilyn is a mature, emotionally intelligent human being. But Elena is quite necessary because Elena knows how to say no. Marilyn don't know
Mhm.
how to say no. That's why Marilyn
Yeah.
gets Elena
Yeah.
knows how to say no, and that's the inner child. We like the inner child is like, oh, that's my dark. Your inner child is quite good. Humans
Very
abuse
good.
you.
Very
Your
good.
children are fine. We are not
Mhm.
fine. We're
Mhm.
spewing toxins in them. We're putting a device on their lap. We're giving them high fructose corn syrup. We're giving them frosting flakes. They're not asking you for that. Oh, my kid love that. No, they don't. Their digestive system does not want frosting flakes. So
Their taste buds learned to
this is
love that because you gave it to them when they were infant.
that's why they want it.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to hear from your perspective what it is that you believe is your superpower.
Mm. Love, love. God can trust me. And I'm going to just use the name God. God can trust me. God can trust me. You know why? Because I operate out of love. And I'm trying to tell people if your vessel is not trustworthy and is filled with just you cannot be used. And I'm talking about it doesn't have to be religious. I'm talking about as a public speaker, you need to sit down. If that voice is your intellect and your skills, and you don't rest in your vulnerable frequencies, if you don't rest in that nervous system that's jumping you to talk about something else, if you don't honor that gut when you're on that stage and switch up a little bit and give them what the spirit, what energy is calling that's in that room, if we're not connecting with people, what are we doing?
Mm.
That's my superpower. I connect. I'm here in Atlanta and I have some bully like, you're taking a bus, you're struggling. Yeah, boo. I got 4 kids. I live in a 3-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. Can you donate? Cash App. I sent a Cash App in my PayPal. I said, you want to send me some money so I can take a plane back home? I'm going to get on the bus. You know why? Because you JPEGing it up, thinking that's all your sales is coming from that. I met about 6 women. I made 3 sales in the room. It's not about the sales because it's a book. You know, my book costs $20. I'm getting $12 a book. You know how this go. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the book.
Right.
But when that book opens up in somebody's lap and a black woman get to sit there and dive deep in some good loving moment. And then she saw me for real, not on a JPEG, my perfect life. She saw me for real. She
For
felt my
real.
heartbeat and she hugged me.
Mm.
That book is gonna hit her different. That's why I got on a
Mm.
bus for 20 hours and
Mm.
came down here and I haven't stopped moving. And after I get off this podcast, I'm going to another networking event and I'm gonna meet more people and they're gonna feel
Yes.
heartbeats and they're gonna this matters. Get back. When people bully me online, I say, hey y'all. Go get some heartbeats today. Leave those JPEGs alone. I know. I'm struggling getting hugs and stuff. It's a struggle out here for us huggers. For us, you want to kiss? I know you do. You must. Go get a hug. That's
Yep.
serious. And that's my superpower. I
That's
connect with humans.
beautiful.
I
That's
connect with humans.
beautiful. Yeah. When was the last time you gave yourself a hug?
Mm. Yesterday, I had a full blown panic attack. I'm staying with someone who's staying with her nephew and they have their own life there. That was very challenging for me. I'm a definite New Yorker and I was taught to behave in people's spaces. So I got out the house and it's not nothing negative, but it's just me adjusting as a spiritual being. I've surrendered. I am the vulnerable. So any room I walk into, I do have to cleanse myself to be prepared, not to be empathic, not to be pulling in energy. I don't need to do that because it does impact me. And I don't have an armor bearer. I don't got a crew like, hey, let me anoint you. So I call my boo, like, I'm dying. I'm going to just sit in the car and cry and coddle in the car. He's like, how about you just start typing in the maps? Where you going? Literally, you got to find your
Yep.
people. I
Yeah.
wrote this. When you are at your hard, that's having those hard days and you progress, don't call the people gonna be like, oh, I thought you better. You still doing that? Don't call them. You call the
Right.
real ones. And I called
Yeah.
and he's like, okay. So you putting in the address for the map? Where you going next? I was like, what? Yeah, just open up. Give me you got, just put the phone down. Put it on speaker. Go ahead. Put it on speaker. What's
I
the
love
address?
that.
What's the
Mm.
address? It
Yeah.
softened his voice and brought me
Mhm.
down. I'm just like, but what if and I'm probably, and it feels, but this is, because you're doing it. And they
Yeah.
bothering me on them because they were really, those things are mean to say to somebody. And I just like, why do you want to be mean? And you want me to admire you? I'm not impressed. I lived in New York my whole life and everyone trying to be something that they're not. It doesn't shiny things do not impress me. I live in a place of artificial, but I lived in the Bronx, so we were not artificial. Realness was taught, and if you look dumb, you look dumb, but you had to keep it real. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, like, I won't be impressed by you. I'm impressed by integrity. I'm
Yes.
impressed by people who you don't have to text to be able to call them. I don't care about how modern y'all got. I don't want to get modern with you in those aspects where I lose human connection because I know myself. I
Yes.
know not because I'm better. I know my history with depression. I know my history with anxiety. I need to be with people, yo. I need love, yo. I need hugs. I need a man. I love
Mm.
me some men. I need a healthy, nurturing man that I could lay with, and it's not about just sex, but I can like I can't breathe. Like I tell this example of running a bar in the village. One of my first actual spaces I owned and partnered with a horrible person because I wasn't vulnerable or using my gut and honoring my gut at all. Just honoring my cash, New York money. And I would see them come in, and at night when I we would close, I would see this white women coming from work, corporate, just get belligerent. People get belligerent in bars, and you have to like check them, getting on drugs, doing drugs. It's the village, right? But I would see their men or they peoples like, oh my God, you're such a kind. But then pick them up and throw them over their shoulder. And then other friends are cleaning up, picking up. I'm not telling because I get attacked. I'm not judging my people. But I ain't gonna sit here and speak a fictitious lie because we don't want no one to know that we struggling. They see it. We in the bar. I rarely. First of all, I have to say, black women don't even allow themselves to get belligerent like that. Those corporate women coming in there and want to let their hair down, they can't because we're watching all the time. No one watching her, right?
Mm.
So I've watched them do get drunk, and they're like friends, like, "Come on, girl." No one's holding their hand. Oh my God, this is why you shouldn't drink. They're getting yelled at. They both got yelled at, but we don't get carried. I've seen a woman she was stumbling. I can't forget this. It was in my head because I grew up with men who took care of me. So and my cousins, my age group, it was all boys and I was the only girl. The one above me, the girls above me were 4 years. So I was corny. At 13, they didn't want nothing to do with me. So I had to chill with all the boys and get made fun of and freckle face and all this stuff, but they love me. My boy cousins love my male cousins love me. And it was a different kind of love that I still need right now. So when I see that happening, I don't like it. And it's weird to me.
Mhm.
Seeing her, he's like, yo, 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 come on. I'm like, hold her hand. She's drunk. She
Yeah.
can't come on. So what? Yell at her tomorrow, but give her grace. And I use that
Give
story
her grace.
to ask, to just put out there, is that your story? Are you doing that to someone else? That's why I use that, because that is what I want to see. I want us all to have safe spaces. We do not. And that's why I wrote in within those first few chapters, I said, how could a woman who knows better sit around and choose isolation?
Mhm.
Hmm. Why are we not asking for help? Is it possibly because the safe spaces degrade us?
Yeah.
Do we really are we really facilitating safe spaces for people to be vulnerable? If you are not doing that, then you have no right to tell someone to come. I have no right to tell someone to be communal if I know good and well. That's like me telling a kid in the South Bronx to go eat healthy when the corner store or the supermarket sells coconut oil for $18 and it's only 8 ounces. What
Yeah.
family of four is going to do
Right.
that?
Right. Right.
Right? So why would I
Exactly.
lie to them and tell them to eat healthy that way? No, I'm gonna say, talk to your local legislators,
Yeah.
go to the community board meetings, and tell them, why do you keep having toxins put in our neighborhood when you don't let them come to other neighborhoods? That's what
Mm,
I'm teaching people. I'm
mm.
not gonna. We're tired. In that book, I said I am tired of us. Excuse me. Blaming our side. It's okay. I swear to God, there is not one real. If you really unaccountable as a black human being, and maybe if you're in your 20s, but if you like 35 and up and you are black and you grew up in this country, right? Just say this. You have a higher level of accountability than anybody on this earth. Even when they wanted to throw the word narcissist and all that, if you haven't been traumatized to a level where accountability almost makes you angered because no one was accountable for any of the actions done to you. I start reversing. Why do you have narcissistic tendencies? Instead of throwing these words around, maybe because nobody felt your pain. No one even acknowledged it. And like we're not acknowledging now, I'm literally calling you a narcissist. I'm still not
Right.
acknowledging.
Right. Right.
I'm labeling you.
Having you identified with what you are suffering from. Yeah.
How are we gonna how do we thrive in these spaces? I just be trying to get to the root. And this
Wow.
I held a men's group called the Him Event, healing inner manhoods. I forget I don't want to mess with the acronym because it's a dope organization. I won't mess them up, but it's dope. It was called the Him Event. So I was one of the speakers. I did a mini workshop, and then I asked some of the men to stay and give me feedback. So four guys stayed. One of the men that stayed, like the younger one, he was 19. He was in the video. You can see him like looking at me and looking at the guy because of what the guy was saying. And the guy goes, he goes, you genuine. But let me tell you this, that genuineness, people ain't gonna like you. People do not
Mm,
like genuineness. And
mm.
I'm listening because I'm like, he got a word for me. And he's
Yeah.
like, don't let them discourage you. He's like, listen, let me tell you, you're getting to the root. You're being raw. People don't want to do that research. People don't want to go that hard. So here you come talking about let's go deeper. No. Mm-mm. And
Mm. Shy away from that.
that's vulnerable feedback. Like that's the Vulne-Rebel workshop. I got to do a Vulne-Rebel workshop with these men. Honored. I was honored, and this nonprofit gave me access to their clients. And all of them loved it. But each of those men that stayed after, they each had a different perspective. Young man said, I have road rage. And now he's like, yo, I don't even be reading like that, son. And he's a Hispanic. He's like, Deacon, I'm about to get a book, yo. I'm about to get this book. Because I got road rage. And now when you did that thing that you did, I could think I could be like, oh, because I don't want to go to jail for road rage, but I'll
Yeah.
be ready to jump out my car. And he's like, I don't like
Mm.
how that makes me feel. I
Mm.
feel weak. He's like, I'm no lie. I feel weak when I get mad. I don't feel
Mm.
strong. And
Wow.
so when I heard him say that, he said, but I don't know what to do with that. What do I do with that? Like who I talked to about that,
Who do I
lady?
go to? Yeah. Yeah. I got a
Another
question for
guy.
you. Oh, go ahead.
He said he was going to therapy. And I'm just
Mm.
sharing this, how such a small my workshop was 30 minutes. What I'm trying to say, it's not about just buying my book. Y'all create your books. Y'all create your messages about vulnerability. It's not just about me. It's about look at what it did in such a small moment. Obviously, we're on to something, Reggie. Like y'all need out there listening. Do it also. Because I just heard for another guy. He's more hipster. He's from Bushwick, a hipster cool with the locks, and it's just awesome. And he was just like, I'm gonna hug my girl good today, and I'm gonna feel proud to hug on her. I'm gonna hug on her real good, and I'm just like he's like I want to say compliments to her all day, but I'll be like, you sound like a sucker. Don't be complimenting her that
Mhm.
much. He's like, I'm gonna just be complimenting her, and I'm gonna just
That's beautiful.
whatever he was saying. But I was listening to each one. Therapy, child. You know, ain't nobody gonna like you. It's okay. Road rage. This just all different aspects. But I just wanted to put that out there. Like if
That's
I can do
beautiful.
that, all of us can.
We all can, yes. That's so beautiful, and again, that's one of the reasons for this podcast is to give people that safe space to be able to share, to be able to open up and be vulnerable. And this last question is something that is maybe difficult to answer, but out of all the things that you have going on in your life, from personal to professional, whatever you want to call it, what do you need help with today, Marilyn?
Ah, thank you. Not many people ask me that question. I still need help with trust. And not having trust for people takes away my trust I have for myself. And when you've been traumatized by the people closest to you, it trust is challenging. When you've been assaulted sexually, and I say this openly because I want others to know if you have ever been sexually assaulted, especially when you are a child, not especially it's all harmful. When you feel like you have no freedom, that impacts your way of thinking, problem solving. It impacts your skill set. It impacts how you show up when you are really confident and really believe in yourself. You can still feel these people deciding that they wanted a piece of you that you said no to. Whether it was verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, abuse is abuse, and people don't need to downplay any form of abuse. But I sometimes am like, how can I show up? Like I feel like that book called The Body Keeps Score. Like every brown child who's ever been traumatized, because we are being told that, oh, that happened so that you could help others. All kind of sick stuff. I hear women come in my group hearing, or in men saying, or being reminded that somehow that should be the feelings of that should have passed by now. How could someone
Mm,
violating you mentally or
mm,
physically ever feel okay?
mm,
And I still at 45, bold, confident. I'm a kind of girl that if I was in a pig pen, I would be asking for organic. I'll be rolling in my slop. Like, can I have organic greens though? Because I love myself. I don't. I love myself, but I don't show up in confidence because of those moments. I'm like, what if someone feels it?
mm,
Like, how could a body that has been so scarred, like I used to cry, like, can I just come back and not have this body? I don't want this body. This body has too much. And as much as people say, it does not go away. My body still feels things that nobody can take. No man, no relationship, no job, no cash money. My kids can't take away. And I have to fight her and go outside and tell people that this is freedom. You know, and that's what I need help with today. I need to keep trusting myself and trusting that that trauma does not own me anymore. It may be
yes,
present and show up, show its face and peek in my house real quick, but it knows that I got security. I got
yes,
cameras now, you know what I
yes,
mean? And that's what I have to
yes,
say. Like, no, oh, you know, girl, you got that German Shepherd outside. They not coming in here. You're
right.
covered, you're protected,
Because
go in
when that
there.
trauma happened, they broke in. They broke in and you had no control over it. But now, as you continue to heal, you have so much control and choice. If it's something you wanna let back in so you can start working through that, you have that choice. If it's something that you don't want to, you have that choice. And so I will be sending you that that lift up
Thank
so that
you.
that trust can be built, 'cause I feel that. I feel that. And to be hurt by those who are supposed to be there to protect you, and I don't use the word "supposed to" often, but there are people who are supposed to protect you.
Yes.
And for those people to be the harmful abusers, it's very, very difficult. So, thank you for being so vulnerable, and we're gonna close this out with some breathing after we get off, but,
Mhm.
how can people reach you?
Marilyn the Chef on all social media. MarilynTheChef.com is my website. Take a look at some of the pictures, things I've done, Um, Marilyn at Marilyn the Chef. I'm putting it out there. It's my email. Reach out to me. Reach out to me. You want me to come to or come on your podcast, you want to come to your school, you want me to teach a workshop. I also offer spiritual guidance. I'm not some wild person, but when I say that, I'm talking about connecting to your spirit. Just know that anytime you work with me or bring me somewhere, I'm connecting people to themselves. I am
Mm,
not teaching people to be like me. I'm teaching people to be
mm,
more like themselves.
yes, and where
If
can people get the book?
they can get the book on my it's not up on my website yet. I'm working on that. But it is on my link tree on my Instagram.
Mhm.
They can order it. It is on Barnes and Nobles. You just have to type in. I'm not on Amazon because Amazon take all your money. I'm not trying to give up my money to no Amazon. So I am Barnes and Noble is the most popular one I could just say out on here. You go to Barnes and Noble, you type in the Vulne-Rebel, like VULNE dash rebel by Marilyn Moore. And when you type that in, and y'all Google it first. Google me. The more you Google that title, I'm taking these SEO classes. Keep Googling me.
Yes, Google
Google
it.
Marilyn the Chef, Google the Vulnerable, and get me popular on here, Like get the
Absolutely.
conversation started. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've blessed me today. You've given me tears that are healing, and I'm gonna go do some headstands, and we're gonna breathe a little bit. But Marilyn, with all the things that you could be doing and all the places that you could be, I appreciate you being here with me, embracing vulnerability.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us for another powerful episode of Vulnerability Muscle. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that resonate with you. If you're enjoying this journey of self discovery and empowerment, there are a few ways you can support the podcast. First, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. If you've been moved by our conversations and the mission of redefining vulnerability, please consider leaving a review. Your feedback not only motivates us, but also helps others discover the podcast. Share your thoughts on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. And don't forget to spread the word. Follow us on Instagram at Vulnerability Muscle for updates, and you can connect with me personally at Reggie D Ford on all platforms. Visit vulnerabilitymuscle.com for additional resources and upcoming episodes. And remember, embracing vulnerability is strength. Thanks for being a part of the journey. Until next time, stay empowered, stay vulnerable, and keep flexing that vulnerability muscle.